Hello and welcome to another episode of Color Your Life. I'm Max, and after a long period I finally have a new album to share with you. And additionally, it's about time to say thank you for subscribing, commenting and watching so frequently. And so I'm very delighted that The Little Craft gives me a wonderful opportunity to do so. The Little Craft offers a 20% discount to all my viewers, which means especially to you. Besides a lot of other things, they have the wonderful papers of Graphic 45 in stock that I used in today's album. You will find the link to the shop as well as the voucher code in the description box below this video. So now I will walk you through the album first, and to all of you who are still interested then, I will show some special techniques that I used to create this album. So the video is a little bit longer than usual, but I hope you will like it. So have fun! Let's start with the cover. While the front is very vivid, I left the back side very simple. Because the paper is so beautiful, I wanted to have as much as possible of it on the front side. But to still have something special on the cover, I created a small pocket to put several little things in it. Besides this, we have a lot of portraits cut out from the papers, as small pictures on the cover. I framed them in squeezed bottle caps and covered them with glossy accents. The closures are made of replacement magnets for a purse. But let's have a look on the inside. On the inside cover we have some cutouts from the collection, where a photo can be tucked behind. The big one on the top also serves as magnetic closure. Underneath we find a photo mat, which is held by a belly band made out of an intricate edge punch. On the next page, a die cut from the collection serves as the magnetic closure again. Behind this we find 4 flaps in different sizes opening to all sides of the page. Next we find another photo mat, but this time in a pocket on the main page. On the next page we have overlapping flaps, again held together by a magnet. Opening to the top and bottom, they are revealing another small flap on the inside. Here we have another one of the die cuts from the collection again, where something can be tucked behind. In the pocket behind this piece we have another photo mat. All the edges are decorated with various edge punches or border dies. And on the bases we have 3 big pages for photos. The butterfly in the middle is flocked, and of course you may tuck something behind it. Also this time the pockets between the pages are holding big photo mats again. But because I was short of paper, I had to smuggle in some leftovers from other collections here. On the next page I wanted to set the gorgeous Spellbinder border die into the spotlight. So there are only 3 simple pockets with photo mats. The embellishment on the bottom is simply made by combining some die cuts of the collection. The next page is holding one of my favorite combination of flaps. These are 2 long flaps in the look of closable envelopes that cover another pocket. And in this pocket another photo mat is hiding. As you can see, I again sewed all the pages with a zigzag stitch. I simply like this, and it makes the whole thing so much more robust. And again, a mat in the side pocket. On the next page as well, I have another element that I like so much. It's a sliding card mechanism revealing 2 pages at the same time. The next page is kind of a repetition of the second one. With this, I wanted to show you that the same structure can look very different even in the same album. This time we have another belly band inside the piece instead of a flap. And the edges of the flaps are cut diagonally this time. And also here we have a photo mat underneath, but this time the following flaps have a different size and thereby change the look. The flap on the next page can be taken out this time. As with all the other die-cut pieces, A photo, a tag or a ticket can be tucked behind this as well. And again, 2 big pages for lots of stuff to put on them, as well as another small mat that can be used for journaling this time. And the last page is very simple. Only the magnetic closure builds a special interactive piece here. And so we are on the page of the back cover. Here we have 2 flap combinations that open from the center of the page. This is a wonderful way to hide the fact that the covers are slightly bigger than the other pages. So we are done with the walkthrough. All of you who are not interested in how to create this should switch off now. No? Okay then. And so we come to the tutorial. I'm now showing you how I did every single page. And of course we are starting right at the beginning with page number 1. Oops! Okay, I have used the Mon Amour collection by Graphics 45 and want to thank the Little Craft again and remind you not to forget about the voucher code as my big thank you to all my viewers. The pages are out of black cardstock, 7.5 by 14 inches with a small flap on the side. I'm only showing you the already prepared pieces and the special mechanisms on the page. I adhered all the papers loosely beforehand not to lose them in between all the other pieces. I'm adhering the magnet now with tape runner and also using the tape on the other piece to sandwich the magnet in tape. Now all flaps need to be sewed before we can build the page. Then I'm adhering all 4 flaps so that they fit perfectly together. After the paper at the top is adhered as well, I'm sewing around the inner page. Only then the pocket can be adhered on top by using liquid glue. And finally the closure that consists of a die cut of the collection and a mat that I cut slightly bigger than the die cut. I'm marking the mat at the position where the magnet is well off the edge and then adhere it to the page. Oh gosh. Here I almost glued down the die cut first. Once the magnet is glued between the pieces, we turn the page and go on with the other side. Here we have all the pieces again, and I already prepared the inner small flap. With this piece I want to show you a different method to adhere the magnets. First, we are adhering one of them onto the lower flap. But how do we get the other one into the right position on the upper flap? Well, I'm spreading some tape onto the upper flap and then rubbing it off again. By this, I'm getting little pilling knots that I can use as self-made glue dots. I'm putting this on top of the magnet, closing the flap and pressing it onto the upper one. When opening the flap again, the magnet sits in the perfect position. Next, I'm sewing all the pieces again. And then I'm adhering the piece onto the next flap by using liquid glue again. And here we need to be careful to leave one side open to build the pocket. Now we are bringing the other flaps into their correct position to get the next magnets at the right place. And here you can see the process of building the little glue dots again. Once the magnet is in place, the flaps will be sewed again, adhered to the page, and the inner page sewed as well. By the way, the upper piece will be sewed together with the flap below. To achieve this, we need to stop at the left bottom corner of the small flap and then switch the flap before we can sew the rest. And that was the first double page. No worries. After the mess some minutes ago, I'm simply holding that number now. And now we continue with page numero 2. Here I wanted to show you the Spellbinder dies that I was using for the edges of the small flaps. In case there is no space to place a magnet and still being able to sew around, I have here another method for you. I'm replacing one of the magnets by a metal band that I got from a loose leaf binder. This is so thin that the zigzag stitch will simply go around it. And so we only need one magnet that we first place onto the metal band and then position it on the small flap by using the glue dot method again. All other flaps will be sewed again and then adhered as well, as we have seen before, with no further special steps. I cut slots into the next page by using the edge dies as a stencil. Now I'm threading black pieces of cardstock with the lace border through the slots from the backside and then sew them onto the page. The edges will be glued down with liquid glue. And finally, the whole piece will be adhered to the page by only gluing the edges of the paper. And here I'm showing you what you want to do with all the other pages on the inside. The seams would get destroyed after time by the big flaps inside the pockets. And so I'm simply protecting them by covering them with tape, where the pages will be glued, and at the side that sticks in the binding we don't need that tape. And finally we can close the page and slide in the already prepared photo mats. Wonderful! Now the pages are moving on their own. Let's go for page number 3. As you've already seen in the walkthrough, this page has the same structure as the last but one. One variation is the belly band instead of the inner flap. I created this by using a standard border punch on both sides of a piece of cardstock. And to get it strong enough to last for years, I'm simply enforcing it with a piece of foil. I'm cutting it into shape and then adhering it with glossy accents. And here you can see once again how the magnet can be positioned well. The belly band will now be adhered first on one side. Then the piece will be sewed on the left and the right. Afterwards, the belly band will be adhered onto the other side. All other flaps will be positioned again to get the other magnets into their position. The upper part will now be adhered again so that the pocket is created. Afterwards, we are sewing the whole flap on the top, the left and the bottom. Once all flaps are glued, we are sewing once again around the inside page to bring everything together. The slider mechanism needs a piece of black cardstock. When scoring 3 times after 4.5 inches, we have another ½ inch left for gluing. The slides are 4 inch in square, but one has a 3/4 inch extension to pull. The opposite side of the glue flap is a 1/4 inch smaller on top and bottom to build a rail. Inside that rail, a strip of plastic bag is moving as a belt. The pull piece will now be adhered upside down onto the belt, followed by the other piece, but rather controlled twice if it is positioned correctly before adhering it forever. If everything is correct, we can close the piece by using double-sided tape. Unfortunately, I forgot to sew the piece before, and so I have to open it again. Also here, we secure the seams with tape and then closing it again. Next, we are adhering the whole piece onto the pocket. The pocket will be glued onto the page when I adhered and sewed the upper and lower paper pieces. And then we are done with this one as well. Oh dear. Compared to the real pages, these cartoon ones are really annoying. I'm going crazy. But back to the last page now. This page starts with the pocket that has an intricate border enforced with foil again. The pocket on the front flap will be sewed together with the flap below. The loose threads I'm usually covering with some cutouts or punch pieces. And finally, we are again sewing around the center page to connect all the flaps. The last page is very simple with its 2 flaps. But I wanted to draw your attention to the closure. I already prepared a band and sewed it. It will be adhered on a small flap at the side, covered under the paper on the main page. One magnet goes under the paper of the upper flap. The other goes into a small fold that I already adhered with 2 cutout pictures from the collection. After placing the fold onto the page, we simply have to cut the band into shape and close the fold. The binding needs another piece of cardstock. After leaving 2 inches, we are scoring 2 times after ½ an inch and once after 3/4 of an inch, and repeating this 3 times. Next we are folding at the score lines and then adhering double-sided tape to the smaller stripes. After gluing them together, we get 4 small flaps on which we can slide our 4 pages. The cardboard for the cover is 8 by 8 inch and thereby slightly bigger than our pages. The spine is 1/4 of an inch wider than the first and the last flap of the binding. By using duct tape, I'm bringing all the pieces together forever. The gap between the pieces should be at least as wide as the cardstock is thick. To cover the bottom and the top of the spine, I'm wrapping some cardstock around the edges. Afterwards, I'm covering the front and the back. To avoid bubbles, I'm using super heavy matte medium and applying it thin but evenly. The excess will be cut off and the paper wrapped around the cardboard. To get the corners as crisp as possible, I'm wrapping them like I would do with a parcel. Then the binding will be generously covered with liquid glue and then adhered to the spine. I'm always checking with an ankle if it is straight before pressing it firmly onto the spine. Then I'm slightly bending the front and the back and adhering the papers. For the pocket on the front, I cut along the lines of the pictures. Now I'm threading the die-cut border piece through the slot and adhering it with tape runner in the back and the edges on the front with liquid glue. The whole piece will then be adhered to the cover. I'm covering the spine with a piece of black jeans that I embellished with some lace at the edges. For the closures, I'm using replacement magnets for a purse, cutting slots into the cover, pushing the metal piece through, and bending the pieces on the back. The ribbons will be fixed on the back by using some jeans buttons. Now the cloth on the spine will be adhered to the front and the back and also be wrapped around the bottom and the top of the spine. Nobody shall see how the closure is fixed on the inside, and so we need to cover this with some extra pages. You meanwhile know the methods to place the magnets. And except the fact that these pieces are a little bit bigger than the other pages, there is no material difference in preparing them. But it is impossible to sew the pages to the cover, and so we have to simply go around the papers and then adhere them afterwards closely to the edges by using liquid glue. I'm using a combination of double-sided tape and liquid glue for the binding. The tape will hold the page in its place until the liquid glue is dry and holds the page and the binding together forever. And you already know how the whole thing looks after embellishing. But if you cannot remember, then maybe you wanna rewind and watch it again. Well folks, and that's it for today. I hope you had fun and got inspired. And if you did, then please like, comment and share this video. And if this is your first time here at Color Your Life, then I would love to have you subscribe. By this, you show me that you like my arts and you will be immediately notified as soon as a new video is uploaded. And if you like more inspiration, then I have here and here some other proposals for you. Just click on the vids to play them right away. Well, then there is nothing more to say than thank you so much for watching and hope to catch you next time again. Bye bye!